So the direct tax benefits of contributing to a pension for a contractor?
As an individual, if you were funding the pension from your own personal bank account, what you'd do is you'd get income tax at your highest marginal rate. For most contractors, that'll equate to 40 or even maybe 50% tax relief, and that would be from your own personal bank account, and you'd claim back. Firstly, you'd automatically get basic rate tax relief, so 20% when you make the contribution. So a £10,000 contribution, you'd actually write a cheque for £8,000, but then you'd also claw back the higher rate tax relief via your self-assessment. There's very recently been some flexibility that HMRC give you to alter your tax code to actually get that higher rate tax relief at source as well. But most people will pay net of basic rate and then claw back the higher rate via their self-assessment. The other alternative is, if you're working through a limited company, is to get the company to pay that contribution on your behalf. And as I've already covered, because the company is making the contribution, that link with salary is broken, and there's far more scope for the individual to actually invest if making an employer contribution via the limited company. The way that the tax breaks work on a company contribution is that the contribution would be allowable as a business expense against corporation tax. So in effect, you get corporation tax relief on any money that goes into a pension on behalf of what in effect could be the sole employee. And that represents a really efficient way of getting money from contract into personal hands, because there's no income tax, you get the corporation tax relief, and crucially, there's no benefit in kind that the individual has to pay on a company pension contribution. You could argue that it's marginally more efficient from a tax point of view to have the contribution made personally up to 100% of salary. And as I've already said, sort of in most cases, that's limited to £6,000 or £7,000 salary. So that's going to restrict contractors from making a more substantial investment. Then over and above that 6-7K, really, sort of the company can make a very substantial contribution on your behalf. Typically, what we do is we work on the basis that the company will invest up to the level of its net profit, and that on an average contractor's income can make for a very substantial investment. There are annual limits in theory as to what you can invest. HMRC say that across the board an individual can only have £50,000 invested on their behalf. However, what we do is we have a workaround for many of our clients that enables us to use the past 3 years unused allowance. And so, in effect, in the right circumstances, an individual would be able to invest as much as £200,000 in any one trading year. So wow. There's an enormous amount of scope.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time today. And if viewers wanted to get in touch with you to talk about pensions, what would be the best way?
Sure. Well, we have a website, www.contractorfinancials.com. But if individuals had a question for me directly, my email is tonyh@contractorfinancials.com, or I'm available on 0845 062 8888.